Good morning, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys doing well today. I'm about ready to start painting, so I'm going to get to that in a couple minutes, but I wanted to do one for this morning just to kind of knock out another topic and also kind of give a couple shout outs and finish my list for this week. And I'll start looking at what's happened this week and give you guys kind of some shout outs and topics for next week as we talk about things. We still got about 38, 40 topics here, so we're still in pretty good shape. Quick shout outs. Juan Manuel Pin, thank you. JB Sykes, thank you. Cassius 555, I believe that is. John Williams, thank you. Cassius, thank you so much. Some kind of teas, thank you very much. And I appreciate those guys, you guys kind of commenting. And once again, please go ahead and subscribe, comment, like, donate. All those type of things helps the cause. Like I said, we're going to shoot for this next year and trying to enhance some of our technology. I can get away from this phone a little bit. Working a lot of hours during the week, it's hard to kind of focus on this and trying to get this technology different. My main thing is just to get the message out. So however I can do that, I will do that. And so that's the key. But I do appreciate some of your comments about trying to get more technology and more into this as we do this. So I appreciate that too. So, all right. So here's a comment. Here's a question, and this is not particularly by anybody, but something I've seen and people have talked to me about a little bit is when you're too aggressive, how does that affect semen retention? Or why are you too aggressive? I guess that's the better question. So let's examine that for a little bit and kind of talk about how we can try to kind of deal with this. So again, we're talking about a tremendous amount of energy that you have. Now, I know that we've had some people talk about, well, is there an aura, is there not? Actually, we're going to talk about aura in one of these next few, maybe later this week or maybe early next week, something like that. But we're going to try to talk about this a little bit because it is a very interesting type of discussion. But if you think to yourself, all of us are made up of energy. Yes, what you see in front of you is a person made of bones, of fingers and hands and all kinds of stuff. But all of those things are molecules, and I know I happen to teach physics at the high school level. And so I recognize that science has determined that we are made up of energy. Now, because we're made of energy, now we need to know how that energy works. And I go back to this idea about the vortexes and understanding that you have 7 vortexes. And I think I showed those in the Kelder's book, Fountain of Youth, as one of the as one of the pictures we showed within the episode, talking about the different chakras that you have. Now, because the chakras move and the energy moves in such a pace, you can have an abundance of energy depending on your movements and what you do during the day. This is why the exercises are very important. When you're younger, it's very easy to go ahead and continue and keep that energy within yourself and have abundance of energy and actually be very aggressive. When you're older, it's not as easy to do that. You're usually trying to get energy, build up testosterone, those type of things, because you want to continue having a great, strong lifestyle. And we know that without any exercise, without certain types of things that make the chakras go, and not all exercises do that. That's why there was specific exercises that Kelder did, and what he learned from the monks in Tibet, basically those ones within the middle of the body would get you into a chakra moving type of thing. And this is why I think that what ends up happening is when you start doing these things, you end up kind of looking about the same age you did when you start. At least that's what I hear. Now, and I look at my own example, and I'm not sure exactly how I look, but I feel like I'm back in my mid-30s and maybe early 40s, and I'm 61 now. And that's about the right timeline if you think about what the book is saying to you and what you're basically saying. You're slowing down the process by the different exercises and things you're doing. And so, I did this back in 1999, and we'll be at 2023 right now, so about 24 years. And if you take 24 years away, you're probably in your, late 30s or, close to 40. And that's probably about the time I started doing these exercises. And so that's probably the range that I'm kind of moving slower with. Not that I'm not aging, but you're aging slower, and you're basically keeping yourself going so you look younger than a person not doing this kind of stuff. And that's why I highly push the Kendler's book, Fountain of Youth, because it does give you a chance to kind of understand your chakras, understand stuff that I fully believe are there. Now, whether you call them chakras and whether you call them energy forces, whether you call them whatever you call them, that's within your body. And so as the energy is inside your body, we have to recognize there's a spiritual aspect and then there's a physical aspect. So the physical aspect works with the spiritual aspect, in my opinion. And so as you look at what God has given you, you look at your mental and physical type nature, they all connect together. And so as you build this energy up, and if you're retaining, now let's go to retaining. If you're retaining, now you're building up energy within yourself. You're not dispersing energy. And as a result of that, right, you end up having a lot of energy. If you do not transmute that energy, and you basically sit around like you sit on the couch or watching video games all day long, and yeah, you're not releasing, but you're not really doing anything with that stuff, that semen that you have. As a result of that, you could get very frustrated. And this is what the fear was many years ago in medieval times, when people thought that, that was going to be self-destructive because it was going to build like a volcano. But the thing is, if you transmute it, like Napoleon Hill said in his book Think and Grow Rich, the transmutation, transfer of sexual energy into using energy into other things, then all of a sudden you don't have a problem. You don't have a health problem. You have an energy, not overabundance, but you're now neutralizing your energy by putting it to other things. And now you're getting active. And that's what people do, especially as you get older. In my case, it's more important to do that now than ever before. That's why I don't sit and watch TV. That's why I don't sit and watch the internet. I do these type of things. It's on my phone. I'll catch a football game here and there, but I don't really focus on, staying, really looking at, the stuff that consumes me that has no purpose for me. I'm looking at doing things that can lead me to another goal, moving in a direction. And so I'm so goal focused that I'm not really paying attention to a lot of the stuff that can just waste my time. And I would not do that. And so I'm trying to transmute that energy all the time. Now, if you don't transmute again, there's a chance that you can get very high aggressiveness. And this is why it's important to understand the two-part process. One, saving energy, using things that kind of transmit that, breathing methods, exercising, doing work, anything you can, doing hobbies, doing anything you can, get yourself into using this energy in a way in which you can go ahead and transmute it. That's going to get you away from being too aggressive. Now, I've had two cases where I've had aggression. One is that when I have released, surprisingly, and two, when I've not released in the past. Now, not anymore, but in the past. When I did not know about transmuting it, and I felt like everybody else felt, well, if you're not going to actually let it go, doesn't this hurt you? Going back to the medieval theories we had with Gagin and back to the Latin Church back in the 1100s, right? That whole philosophy has been with us for 1,000 years. But the idea is that I thought that was the case. But I realized that it was really a matter of not transmuting that, not putting that into effect. And when I saw the book over the years, I read this many years ago as well, Think and Grow Rich, that page 9, that chapter 9, I think it was, The Art of Sex Transmutation. And basically, you're talking about the energy the person has. If unchecked, that person becomes a madman because you have so much sexual energy they can't control it. And so just almost like a person on dope. The addiction level is so high, you guys know what I'm talking about there. You have such a superpower here that if you can't control it, you can get into a lot of nasty type of things. We'll give an example here. We'll look at Mike Tyson. He decided that he was going to go on a 5-year, I believe it is, I read, 5-year, period of time when he was a monster in the ring. And he used this in the ring. Now, he was, to advantage, he was in a field like boxing where he was basically supposed to be beating up people anyway. And so he used the aggressiveness to beat people up. That's where he was able to transfer that. But you could see how powerful he was. And not surprisingly, his career went up and down based on what? Well, he probably was releasing. Or he probably was, with, I think it was the one woman, I can't remember her name. But he got involved with this, and all of a sudden, he lost his track and his goals. And so, not surprisingly, he lost some boxing matches after that. And he wasn't the same type of fighter he was during that 5-year period. Muhammad Ali talks about that. Boxers, athletes, football players talk about how powerful this is when you're actually, retaining and transmuting. But just so you know, the opposite side of this thing is that if you release, you're going to have a lot of energy come forward. And it's very possible, because it's a combination of being pissed off, like I was, that I released, and feeling, really high level of energy coming out, that you also are aggressive. You take it out on other people. Whether you're yelling at people, starting fights with people, those type of things can happen. This is why it's very important to understand how to control yourself to the level where you can actually kind of, mediate those the energy level. Control the energy level. That's the key. This is why we talk about, what is right for you. Well, you're going to have to kind of work within your own body, your own system, to know what is right for you. When am I going to release energy? When do I want to have children? When do I want to procreate? And when and how can I transmute? We probably should talk about a whole episode at some point on transmuting. And we kind of give some ideas here and there, but maybe we need a whole video on that at some point. And I think I do have one coming up pretty soon on that. How to start again. Maybe we'll talk about that. Admiral Islam and Shaham said, why is that so hard? I'm going to talk about that. Maybe we'll bring that in. I'll write myself a note here. We'll bring that in and talk about that while we talk about we'll talk about transmuting as well. Okay? All right, anyway, you can become very aggressive. And so what you have to do is make sure you control these behaviors. And that's the key to it. So as we talk about this, make sure that when you are deciding on, these days you're doing it, always in your back of mind, realize that you don't want to get tempted. You're trying to avoid the temptation by doing something that with yourself. Don't sit at home and watch. Don't be in front of those computers. Don't be in front of the video games. If you're going to be in video games and you like playing video games, that's great. But give it a time limit and say, that's it. The addiction behavior of these things lead to other addictions, and you're in the middle of the night and all of a sudden you decide to go down that wrong path. But it's because of movies and things like that. Avoid these situations. Get yourself in the mindset of doing that, and you'll be better off. All right, it's a short one today, guys, but I want to talk about this because I do know some people talked about what happens when you're too aggressive. And so you can be aggressive both when you're not releasing and releasing. And as a young male, especially, there's a lot of energy you have. So as you're learning self-control, learn how to control those behaviors better so that you don't get caught doing things. And make sure you transmute this into reasons and things that are good. All right, guys, until next time. Battle on, guys. I'm getting my nose here. Battle on, and have a great day. And remember, every day is a new day to a wise warrior. God bless you guys, and have a great day.